Listen to this episode if you find yourself often asking, what the heck should I even post today? How do I continue to come up with new ideas? What can I say on social media? Because you feel like you're constantly saying the same thing over and over and over again. This is probably one of my most frequently asked questions is, Maddie, what the heck do I say? How do I keep on coming up with new ideas? What do I even need to post on social media? I want to really dive into this today and tackle this thought right now that if you are consistently kind of waking up, you're saying, all right, I'm going to post on social media today. All of a sudden it is 2 p.m. You haven't posted anything, maybe a story, a picture of your coffee, but nothing of any depth. And then you sit down to try to come up with what you're going to post on your feed. And oftentimes you come up with slapping an old photo, an old video, something that you've regurgitated 100 times, and it just falls flat. It never actually feels like there's any depth, any traction, any momentum behind it. I see this a lot. And oftentimes it comes from just like a fatigue of not really knowing what to say. And so there's two major reasons behind this. We're really going to dive into those two and uncover how you can actually solve this question. Now, this was actually submitted by one of you, my listeners. This was submitted by Jenica. Her question is, I run out of ideas of what to post. I just feel like my brain is empty and I've said it all, so it ends up taking so much time. Help. How do I know what I should be posting? And I'm sure a lot of you out there are nodding your head. Yep, that's how I feel too. I'm sure that's how a lot of you feel because I get asked this question all of the time. But truly, when you have these solid kind of foundational pillars and the principles of what we're going to talk about here, I literally wish I could post 4 times a day on my feed. I wish it wouldn't be fire hosing you with information if I posted way more often than I am right now, because I have so many ideas, so many things to say. And honestly, a lot of my clients feel that way as well. So they're like, Maddie, can I post multiple times a day? Because now that they have a system, now that they have a structure, it takes a whole lot less time for them to actually get out there. I would say on average, I spend less than 30 minutes a day actually creating content for social media. A lot of my clients do as well, posting one feed post and maybe a couple of stories to connect with their audience. Really shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes. Maybe if it's a highly edited reel, it'll take you a little bit longer than that. But sitting down, it really should be a bing, bang, boom. Get it done, put it out there, and let the reaction happen. And so I'm going to cover this. If you're new here, I quickly just want to say hello. Welcome to the Small Business Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Madison Page. I'm a business growth specialist, and I specialize in teaching you how to grow a ride or die community around your brand on social media so you can stand out and sell out your physical product-based business. I'm so happy that you're here. If you're not yet subscribed to the podcast, we put out new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. There's 350 hours of real strategies out there for you to binge as well. That's already out there. So make sure that you are subscribed, you are followed along. Would love to have you inside of this community. So these two major things. One, the major piece is that you don't have solid enough foundations of your brand in order to actually make it specific enough to know what to say. We'll cover that in a second. And two, you aren't actually being repetitive enough. Marketing is in and of itself very repetitive. You can go and look at some of the most popular brands out there, brands that are constantly disrupting an industry, and they are incredibly repetitive because it takes a long time for people to actually really catch on to what you're saying. So it is okay to be repetitive, but you need to have these solid foundations first. So when we talk about foundations of your brand, we're talking about who are you speaking to? What makes your brand different? And what is your brand all about? You can't just sell candles. You can't just sell clothing. You can't just sell jewelry. You can't just sell art. You can't just sell whatever it is that you are selling. You have to separate yourself from everybody else within your industry. Just like a makeup brand. Like you can't just have another makeup brand because at this point there are so many makeup brands. Why should people want you over everybody else? You can't just come out with another skincare brand because there are so many out there. Why you? And so what you have to do to answer that why you question and make content creation a lot easier is understand the pillars and the foundations of your brand. Now, I say this a lot, and I'm going to reiterate it again because I think it's a great example, if I do say so myself, is talking about a speech. If I were to ask you right now, you need to give a speech on confidence later, you would be like, All right, like what about confidence? Or like, who am I going to be talking to? Your first questions would be clarifying questions. It's the same with your marketing. Okay, I'm trying to sell lip gloss. All right, who are you selling lip gloss to? Why are you selling them lip gloss? What problem is it solving? And how can you really go about creating very specific messaging that is going to really resonate with them? So if you were to give a speech on confidence, your first question would be who? Who am I giving a speech to confidence on? Because it's going to look different whether it's kindergartners, whether it's teachers, whether it's CEOs, whether it's veterans. You would change the way that you talk about confidence, the examples that you give, and the points that you make, because those people all have very different needs. It's the same thing. If you're selling lip gloss, are you selling lip gloss to 11-year-olds that are just getting into makeup and that like really just want something to make them feel good and like make them feel kind of included into that makeup world? Or are you selling lip gloss to grandmas in order to still give them something that's fun and unique and girly when they have more mature skin and lips? Like those two things, your marketing would look very incredibly different. Or are you selling lip gloss to your day-to-day average, like, 25-year-old lip gloss consumer? What is that person? And then for all of the lip gloss that is made for whether it's 11-year-olds, whether it's grandmas, whether it's the 25-year-old average lip gloss consumer, what makes your lip gloss different than Summer Fridays? What makes your lip gloss different than Rhode? What makes your lip gloss different than the thousands of lip glosses that they can find if they walk in Ulta, Sephora, go on Amazon? What makes yours so different? Is it like hyper plumping? Is it going to be glossier and shinier than the rest? Like what are you? Is it actually having scientific backed approach, like ingredients that are going to help them with a certain issue that they might have, or to get rid of the lines in their lips? Or what is the tangible problem that you're solving? So again, if we look at lip gloss, if you know that you are selling lip gloss to elderly women to give them kind of the confidence that they need with their mature skin and to help them kind of firm up their lips and make their lips look really youthful, oh my gosh, how many content pieces right now can you come up with for that? Answer so many questions that they may have just about the industry and the audience and providing value for that community. And then if we're talking again about confidence, are you talking about confidence? And then you can create so much content around that that is going to naturally attract that person. A lot of times this question of like, what the heck should I be posting, comes from a lack of knowledge of who you're selling to, what you're selling and what the overall story is about, and where you are separating yourself within the industry. What is your overall message? Another example, there is a candle company that sells candles for pet homes. As you can see, my dog is running around here all the time, jumping up and down. He's in almost all of my videos. I have a pet-based home. And so I have bought these candles before because they're pet safe. Now, the pet safe just means that they don't use essential oils that are actually toxic to dogs. And is it just an all natural candle? Yeah, 100%. Could they market themselves as just another all natural candle on the market? For sure. But they decided to make I think it's like Pet House or something like that is the name of the brand, is they decided to differentiate within a very saturated industry, candles for pet owners that care about the health of their pet and don't want toxic fragrances for their pet. That is a very specific niche that I am very much so in. But they were able to get into so many pet boutiques. They were able to get into pet stores and Petco and all of these other places because they spoke exactly to who their ideal customer is. They differentiated within their market. Now, if they were just another all-natural candle brand, they wouldn't have gotten into those Petcos, to those wholesalers, to really penetrate into that level of community. And they could come up with so many different content ideas. Like, I want you to think right now, what is 10 different topics that you could talk about if you were a candle made for pet owners that is a pet safe candle? What makes other candles not safe for pets? What fragrances are actually the most safe for pets? What are they currently using? What are the current candles, and what are the signs and symptoms that the candles are actually toxic? What are some recipes for pets if you want to give your pup a nice little treat during the day? What are some dog specific kind of relatable, funny, different topics? All of a sudden, you're your content topics are endless. And I hear this a lot when I talk to my clients is they're like, Maddie, your brain literally works in content. Like, I don't know how you are able to just like machine gun content out there. I'm just like over and over. I have so many ideas, so many topics. And it's because I can look at these three pillars. Who are you talking to? Like, what is your business all about and what makes you different? I can look at those three topics and I literally have endless content ideas flowing because I understand your foundations. I understand the content framework. And all you have to do is like, okay, this is your major message. Now let's come up with how to say this in a value-centered way, in an educational way, in a relatable way, in all of these different ways throughout the overall content strategy. So if you're finding yourself asking, Maddie, what the heck should I even post? I feel like I'm running out of ideas. I feel like I sit down and my brain is just empty. I want you to think about the foundations of your brand and the content strategy that you are following. Do you even have a really specific ideal customer? Do you know what they ate for dinner last night? Do you know where they would go on family vacation in the summer? Do you know what colored nail polish they would wear to their wedding? If your answers to that are no, we have to go back and look at your ideal customer. Do you know what separates you within your industry that is different than health, that is different than quality, that is different than being all natural? Because those things are incredibly saturated. A lot of times people pick a differentiator that is actually like a micro or a macro differentiator. Yeah, sure, you have candles, sure, they're all natural, but there are so many all natural candle alternatives out there. We need to say, and then what, and then what, and then what, a couple of times to really get niche within a certain community so you can really attract them and really get specific. Because again, if you are giving a speech to kindergartners about confidence at school, you could have a very specific speech. You already have a couple of ideas of what you could say, but if you're just giving a speech, you're like, about what? To who? How am I going to even talk about confidence? Like, what is that going to be? We have to get a little bit more clear in order to make your messaging more clear, to make that marketing really resonate with people. And then of course we have to look at your content strategy to say, all right, you have your foundations, you have your message, you know who you're talking to. Now let's just brainstorm a bunch of ideas for all different 7 types of content you have to create. And at the end of that, you literally should have 150, 200, 250 content ideas at the palm of your hand in a spreadsheet, because all you've done is, all right, this is who we're talking to. Let's clarify it. Now let's come up with ideas under these different topics. And then you can kind of just pull it up and rinse and repeat. That is what I mean by having a rinse and repeat marketing framework. You really shouldn't have to think about what you're saying or what your topics are, because they're just literally bubbling. They are literally just bubbling out of you all of the time with a whole bunch of things. And then if you're like, no, Maddie, like I know the foundations of my brand, I know like the strategies and I'm following a content framework, but I just feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. My answer to that is good. Like, marketing is saying the same thing 1,000 different ways until something sticks. It takes 24 times of seeing the exact same thing in order for somebody to fully understand it. That means that if you are saying your overall message once a month, it is going to take 2 years for your community to really understand what you're saying. In order for the people that are in your audience 2 years ago to understand what it is that you're really building 24 times. So if you say it weekly, it still takes 6 months. So we have to be repetitive. We have to have that messaging in a lot of different areas so people can really understand it. You want to put it on your feed. You want to put it on your website. You want to put it in your emails. You want to put it on your stories. We want to put it in a bunch of different ways in your content schedule, very often reiterating your value, reiterating how great your products are, reiterating what makes them different, reiterating your story and your message behind your brand. So first, you need foundations, then you need a content strategy so you can just kind of rinse and repeat through those foundational elements and the topics that you have. And then you literally need to be repetitive. I am telling you right now, you should be sick of what it is like that you say over and over again. I literally think I say some very similar content. I have content that is almost word for word something that I said a year ago, 6 months ago. If I were to have to come up with new ideas all of the time, my brain would be empty too, because there's only so many things we can talk about, but I have so many different ways of trying to reiterate a similar topic and say it in a different way. So because some people will really relate in this way, some people will really resonate in this way, some people will feel activated with this one. And so we have to say the same thing in a bunch of different ways until until it sticks with every different type of customer. So you do have to be repetitive. If you're struggling to figure out what to post, I recommend first going back to the foundations. Do you know who you are? Do you know who you're selling to? Do you know what your business is all about? Do you know what really makes you different? Those are the first questions I want you to ask. Then I want you to say, do you have a content strategy with actual kind of pillars and topics that you are supposed to stay under? And that's not just, I'm trying to be authentic and I'm trying to be relatable. Those two things, yes, they are some of the content pillars, but you need a lot more variety than that. Do you have a content strategy, a content framework that you are following where you know what to post on your feed, on your stories, in your emails, and other marketing frameworks? If you don't, again, start there. And then lastly, how often are you actually saying the exact same thing over and over again? You do need to be repetitive within your overall marketing. Marketing is a repetitive nature. If you go and you look at successful businesses, a lot of times they're saying the same thing every single week, very, very often. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it's boring. And no, it feels like you are saying it a lot, but people are paying very little actual attention to what you're doing. They're only seeing it quickly when they're at a stoplight, or they're on the toilet, or they're in the kitchen, they're making something, they're on the couch, they're watching a movie. Like, they aren't actually fully paying as much attention to it as you are. So you have to be repetitive. It takes 24 times. Remember that. So if you only say it weekly, it's going to take people 6 months in order to fully understand what your business is all about. We have to say it enough where people can really fully understand it based on how little attention they actually are doing and how much they are actually paying to you. Jenica, I hope this was helpful for you. If you want me to answer your questions and you are out there, join our free podcast community. It's the Small Business Cafe. Click the link in the show notes. I would love to answer your questions there. I answer them on Fridays pretty much every week. I'm going in there and answering questions. If you are really looking for marketing support, we actually have a once a year big promotion going on my Instagram right now called Bloom Into Business, where you are getting discounts and extra bonuses with getting support in your business. So if that is something that you have been craving for a long time, you want me to help you with all of these, figuring out your foundations, having me in your business, figuring out what your content pillars are, looking at your current content, finding hidden opportunities to scale. If you want to work with me, if you've been binging my podcast and you're ready for more, now is the time. I literally never do promotions or sales or anything like that. We are doing it now, and it is only going on for a short period of time. So if you're interested in it, head on over to my Instagram at This Is Madison Page. Otherwise, you can DM me Bloom, and I would love to give you some details and what that overall looks like. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that this was helpful for you. Get out there, start figuring out your foundations, your content strategy, and getting a little bit deeper within your brand. I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm in your corner always, and I will see you in the next episode.